What up, outliers? Today is all about GME, and we have a hilarious series of new documents on the Bed Bath & Beyond case that have come out recently that we're going to take a look at mostly tomorrow during the live stream. Today, I just want to do a gloss over of some of the things that I've come across so far, and then I want to take a look at GameStop, the stock, because it was expiration. And as you know, we have to pour one out for the homies because there was hundreds of thousands of options that expired worthless today. So we got to pay our tribute to the fallen soldiers there. So that's the game plan for today, is just looking at some GameStop stuff. So quick update in general on the daily video schema is I'm actually going to go back to picking like one or two specific things that I want to talk about versus like the broad market update, because I'm also doing a daily live stream. So the game plan is during the live stream is when I'll do kind of like the market update stuff. So in the meantime, the video that I release each day other than Saturdays will be about something specific like this, GameStop. So here we go. This one was hilarious. This is obviously a deposition of Cohen. So he's the one that's currently answering questions. So you can see like the top part here, starting from number 8, they're talking about the consultants. And we know that Cohen doesn't have a super favorable opinion of them. And especially in this, like how it all went down. So this is the part I really want to highlight on. Starting from 13, it says, or BCG, right? This is the question. Sure, consultants. I know that you are critical of those, but what I'm saying is that you never felt ever while you were invested that they did any of these things, correct? And here's Cohen's answer for just the G'd up moment. The company was losing hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't know what they did or didn't do. They did a remarkable job of driving the company off of a cliff. They get an A+ for that. It's awesome. It's such an awesome response. And as you guys know, I am just an idiot online. I'm not an attorney. I don't know anything about any of this stuff. But from my just deductive reasoning, this is actually a pretty smart answer, because one of the issues they have with this case is that Cohen didn't pay the consultants because he didn't feel like they did the job. So by answering like this, he's essentially saying that regardless of contractually what they agreed that they would do or not do, the result was bad. So I actually think this is a really smart response. Also, just a hilarious framing of the response. And yeah, overall, I thought that was a pretty interesting component to this. From my understanding, I think it was like with BCG specifically, they had like a 30 million unpaid bill of some sort. I'm not saying that they didn't pay them at all. I don't know those details. I just know that I came across that at some point, that they had an unsettled account there. So this is just a hilarious response. The other thing that I thought was interesting was this question or kind of comment from Rough Willow. And it says, how did this guy pass the bar exam? So Mr. Farina says, no. If you want to ask him his opinion, you now have him under oath giving his testimony. If you want to show him something and ask him whether he agrees with it, he'll tell you whether or not he agrees with it. And then you'll have his testimony. Mr. Joffrey says, okay, thank you for the advice. So these are obviously again, don't know, guessing, 2 attorneys. It looks like Farina is with Cohen and Joffrey is on the other side. Now, what I do think is important to point out, again, like I understand why people might think this, but you have to know it's fun to poke fun. I love poking fun, trolling a little bit, having a bit of a jest and just throwing around some insults. It's a good time. Banter is great. However, it is also important to make sure we understand like this actually doesn't apply here at all. So this guy is asking really smart questions in the way that he's doing it. So my guess is that person that posted this saying how they passed their bar exam is essentially saying that like Mr. Farina was explaining to Joffrey essentially how to do things. But from my understanding, during the depositions, one of the tactics attorneys will use is that they'll have a document that essentially has some sort of transcription or information. And then they'll ask the person about what's on the document without showing them. And then essentially what they're trying to do is get a contradiction. They'll say like, what did you do last Tuesday? And the person will say what they think they did last Tuesday. And they'll say, oh, interesting. Because in this email over here, it says you did this last Tuesday. What does that mean? Right? So they're trying to create problems. That's why depositions go the way they go. It's why you'll see attorneys ask questions 16 million times. That's the same question. They just try to rephrase it slightly. And the whole goal there, it's just attrition. These are long sessions where they're beating you over the head with these questions, just trying to find small holes and kinks that they can pull out. The other thing is that they want to make sure that they're getting to a point with their responses so that if and when it goes to trial, they already know your answer, because they've essentially boxed you into an answer going through the deposition process. So if they say, what did you do last Tuesday? You'll say, I went to the beach. And then they'll say, what else did you do? Oh, I had lunch. What did you have for lunch? I had toast. What else did you have for lunch? Turkey sandwich, right? Like they're literally going to get to that detail so that during the actual trial, as they're going through their story, trying to frame it how they can, they already know all your answers. And then if you balk on it while you're going through the trial itself, then you look dumb, because then they'll say, oh, interesting, because during your sworn testimony, you said this. Now you're saying this. Can you explain that? Puts them in a bad spot. So I just want to point that out because, again, like, I'm down for the jokes. Love this. It's a hilarious question, or like it's a hilarious comment, right? But for those that actually take this seriously, thinking like, wow, this is so dumb. How dumb are these lawyers? They're not. They're fucking smart, unfortunately, super smart. And the people that are involved in these kind of cases, like about as high profile as they can get. So you're going to have the quintessential big law firm attorneys with tons of experience that make millions of dollars doing this stuff. You're not going to have kind of the run-of-the-mill me trying to play lawyer. Like, these are smart people. So it's just important to know that. It's, again, better to banter. I like that better myself. But it is important to know and actually like analyze the playing field for what it is. These are not stupid people. So anyways, just a couple things that I saw here at a prelim. For those that are interested, this is the website and the case number that you could look up. So this one here specifically, Exhibit 41, which is Doc 130 Attachment 5. This is actually the deposition. It's like 77 pages. Like I said, I haven't gone through it all. We'll go through it more in depth together during the live session tomorrow. But this is essentially the latest documentation that's been added on the 14th of August. So the whole thing is continuing to move along. It looks like it started back on 23 Aug in 22. So yeah, this is the website, the case you can look up to find it if you're so interested. All right, let's turn over to here, take a look at GameStop. What are we seeing here? Well, we're seeing sideways, and that's essentially the long and short from an actual price perspective. Volume is still super, super light. Volume today was 3.6 million against the 20-day average of 7.28 million. We contracted volume over yesterday, which is 5.3. Today's 3.6. So volume is just super low here. We're not seeing a lot of movement. This kind of further bolsters this whole consolidation thesis. Now, one thing that's worth pointing out that I think is favorable for GameStop is small caps is starting to grab a little bit of a leg here. So that just adds a general wind at the back of small cap stocks when the broader index itself is progressing in a positive direction. So that part is actually, in my opinion, pretty good to see. So looking at GameStop options, though, specifically, we had a ton expire today. So if we take a look at the 16 AUG and we look at the out of the monies, there was 346,359. So pour one out for the homies. I'm going to pour it in my mouth so it's not on my carpet. But there was a pretty big decline in the overall options chain today. Now, one of the things that I like to look for on days like this, though, is did we start a big bout of volume in the next expiration cycle? So if we take a look at the volume today, we can see all these blue squares popping up. That's 23 AUG. So this is the next expiration cycle, but you notice these are all actually very small sizes. So today, from the call side, there's probably 150, almost probably a little more than that, out of the money, 150,000 out of the money calls that expired worthless. And now, as far as replacements in 23 AUG, the biggest offering, biggest volume today was 5,273. So this is just a pretty big slowdown. So when we take a look at 23 AUG, you'll see that it's getting built out over yesterday. And my guess is on Monday at the open, this will get built out more from people moving positions out. from yesterday into today, and then from today into next week after expiration here. But there was just a ton of options that got nothing. So the 23s, there was 12,000 of those essentially, with 614 added over yesterday. There was 9,900 traded today. Again, my overwhelming guess is that for these larger expirations, when you see like 9,900 traded today, 4,700 traded today, to me, that's probably people trying to scalp any existing value out of these that they can to save some of it. So that's what I see on the call side. Now, when I look at our implied volatility, super low. I mean, it's just super low. It's not even above 100 anywhere. And I still see this 6 SEP expiration super light, 84% IV as compared to, I mean, and this has earnings as compared to 13 SEP, which is 92. And then the primary expiration after that is 89. That still is surprising to me. And I'm expecting that to change. I'm expecting this IV to expand. And the reason why I pointed out is for me that it's a tradable event. It's something that I will trade because my opinion is that this vol is going to expand. And it's because there's earnings there. And it's very rare that you'll find an earnings expiration cycle that is like that much low, almost 10 points lower from the next expiration cycle. It's just very anomalous. So it's something that I will probably look to trade. So that's what we got for today. As always, if there's any questions, anything you want me to take a look at, let your boy know. Be an outlier. I'll see you guys later.